Hello all, this is Dave. New camera. This is David from Sunward Hobbies, here with another build video. This time, I'm going to be tackling this Tamiya 1/35th scale World War I British Infantry set. Now, because this is only figures, I am very confident this time that I can build this whole thing in one day. So, let's get to it. So here is today's build, the aforementioned Tamiya World War I British Infantry set. It comes with 5 figures, 1 officer, 3 riflemen, and 1 machine gunner, all in no man's land storming poses. I chose this subject because I'm pretty confident I can build and paint these 5 figures in one day. As I open this up, there are just 2 plastic sprues. These are accessories like weapons, provisions, and standing bases. And this one houses all the parts for the figures, i.e. arms, legs, and heads. Well, now that we've been introduced, let's begin. I start by clipping off all the parts, duh. To be safe, I like to leave some room and not snip right against the part. Then afterwards, I clean it up later with a hobby knife. Everyone is nicely arranged according to the instructions on the box. It is important to know that once the pieces are off the sprue, they're no longer labeled by a number, so I can't stress enough how crucial it is to organize and keep track of your pieces. So with that said, I'm going to grab my extra thin cement and reattach everyone's limbs. I don't know about you, but I like to think of this as these 5 were just blown to bits by an artillery barrage, and with a little pro's aid, it's up to me in the medical tent to glue everybody back together. And no, I didn't say they would live. One of my own preferences for building is that I don't like to glue every piece on right away. That's because some crevices can be hard to reach for painting if there's an arm or a satchel in the way. The Lewis machine gun here is broken up into just a few pieces. There is the main body here, as well as a magazine, a muzzle, and a triangle mount. So everyone is put together for the most part. I just left the heads and their respective accessories off. Heads I like to paint separately due to their color differentiation from the uniform. In that case, I'm about to prime everything with some Vallejo black primer off camera, and I'll be right back. Awesome! We've now got a smooth, dark surface for the paint to go on. I realized in my previous build that I forgot to explain my method for using these rolls of tape. Sorry about that. Whenever I spray or airbrush loose parts, I like to take a strip of some low-tack tape, roll it into a loop with the sticky side facing out, and place it on a flat, mobile surface. This helps keep the parts I'm spraying from being blown away by the compressed air. Or another method you can use is grabbing some popsicle sticks or toothpicks and taking this handy product called white tack, which we sadly do not carry in store. I'm working on it. Take some of that, stick it to the parts you're painting, and mount that on your stick. White tack is basically like silly putty, but stronger. Thankfully though, it doesn't leave any residue when it's removed. So worry not about that. Okay, enough about my crazy methods. Let's get some paint on this. So when painting figures, you have to work in layers. There's a shadow layer, a mid-tone layer, and a highlight layer. That's what really gives your character life. Now, the box art does show you what paints you should use, but I like to grab reference photos and go by that. So for the shadows, it's best to use a dark brown. I will be using Vallejo's Dark Rust. No real technique needed here. Just pack it all on all over. Just don't miss any crevices. The shadow layer on everyone's faces is done. So now I'm going to start painting their flesh. This first guy, I'm using Army Painter's Ruby Skin. And I'll be using the same dry brushing technique that I've been using throughout this video. And same thing on this guy, but I'll be using a different skin tone for him. So there's their heads. The brush marks kind of give the illusion of dirt and debris, which seeing as this is World War I figures, that makes total sense. So that's pretty much it for painting the flesh. So now I'm going to start painting some of their accessories, starting with this sack. I'll be using Army Painter Prairie Ochre, and again I'm using the dry brush technique. For the water canteens, I'll be using Vallejo Green Gray. For these soup bowl helmets, I'm going to be using Vallejo's Bronze Green. And since these are metal plate helmets with not really any crevices to leave shadows in, I will this time be using a stippling brush technique. But for the machine gunner's helmet, he's got to be a contrarian. He's got one of those cloth draped helmets. So we're going back to Prairie Ochre and back to the dry brushing technique. So this next item's basically going to be the last main thing that needs a whole coat of paint. That'll be the machine gun with some Mr. Hobby Aqueous Metal Black. After this part, basically everything left that needs painting is just small details and accents. So ignore what I just said earlier. This is actually the last main thing that needs painting, that being the rifles, which I will be doing in Vallejo Flat Brown. And I'm using a brush with bristles that are a little frayed, as I'm trying to simulate the wood grain effect with it. Just try to brush this on lightly. And brush marks are what you want in this case. Okay, now we're just into detail painting. I'll be doing this bayonet case with a mix of flat brown and green gray. Going back with the metal black. And I'm going to fill in the metal parts of the rifle. Just one last detail and we'll be done painting the weapons. Just gotta paint the bayonet in some Testors flat aluminum. Next up, I'll be painting this officer's boots and satchel with some flat brown. Now for probably the trickiest part of this whole build, I'm going to have to paint the captain rank on his sleeves. You can just barely see it there. And I'll be using Vallejo's Desert Tan. Look at that, we're almost done. All that's left now is to paint these straps on everybody and then glue everyone together. So I'll be once again using Army Painter's Prairie Ochre. Cool. So everybody's painted, and currently they resemble the aftermath of a shelling attack, but luckily I've got some BSI CA glue to put them all back together. And here I present to you my finished product. Oh, wait a second. I almost forgot the most important detail. There. In conclusion, I was pretty satisfied with this one. I mean, it was a little iffy at first, but that's the funny thing with building figures that I find. When you start off, things just don't seem right, but then once the layers of paint start going on, it all just seems to work out. So yeah, that is how I build and paint my figures. Hopefully you learned something from this video, or maybe you want to leave a comment saying all the wrong things I did. So if you want to give a crack at painting figures yourself, you can pick up this or many other figures here at Sunward Hobbies, in store or online. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our socials, and until the next one, charge!